Good morning, Illini. Welcome back. I'm Matt Schrock, your host here for the Illini podcast. And we're going to jump in this one really quick because I'm excited about this episode today. This is one I've been looking forward to once we got it scheduled. We are in the heart of March Madness and basketball season. And if you talk to me for 5 minutes, you know I'm a sports guy. So I'm excited to have this conversation today. I've got two guests joining us from the Orange Krush. And again, if you're familiar with Illinois athletics, you know the Krush, from basketball especially. But my guests are Brooke Volker. She's a senior in studying animal sciences with a pre-vet track, and she is president of Orange Krush. And Brooke, thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And then we're also joined by a freshman, Claire Seal, who is studying kinesiology, but she's also one of the Krush captains. So Claire, thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for having us.
So like I said, anytime you talk to me for like 5 minutes, especially this time of year, you're going to find out how much of a sports fan I am. So I was excited to have the Krush on and talk. This is one I've kind of wanted for a while because we didn't have a chance to put it on. So excited about that. But as an aside, I'm really excited because Claire actually is from my hometown. She graduated the school that my daughter graduated from. They were in school at the same time together. And so there's that personal connection. So I was really excited to have Claire on here. I'm not sure she's as excited as I am, but it's really cool to have somebody that I've seen grow up and I've seen in sports and things outside of this on the program. So again, Claire, I'm really excited you're here.
I'm glad to be here too.
But like I said, you know, most people, when they think of Orange Krush, they think immediately of basketball, the game day experience. And that's a huge part of what you do. And it's a great part of what you do. But it's more than just basketball. So before we get into some of the things that about the group itself, as far as game day and kind of your impact there, I do want to talk about the things that happen outside of game day. We're going to pause for a second. And it's so much more than just at game day. So let's just start off with sharing, for anybody who doesn't know, maybe they don't know what the Krush is. What is the Orange Krush, and in what ways do you support Illini athletics as a whole?
Totally. So the Orange Krush is the men's and women's Fighting Illini basketball student section. But with that, we are a branch within Illini Pride. So Illini Pride is the student athletic board for student sections within the entirety of the university. So we cover any university-funded sports. So we have Black Eye for football, we have Orange Krush for basketball, and then Olympic is our other one that covers all the other sports. So it's a big one that a lot of people don't really know about, but we support them just as much as we do support Orange Krush and Black Eye.
So as far as the Krush, then, because it is a part of Illini Pride, do you have members that are in both? Can you be in both, or are you exclusive to the Illini Krush? How's that, or the Orange Krush, excuse me, how's that work?
You can be, like, if you wanted to be an Orange Krush captain, you can also be like a Spike Squad setter. So that's the people who are the Orange Krush captains, but for volleyball. Or you could also be a net nut, and for tennis, you can do all of those. It's kind of up to your own schedule and up to your own interests, but you're able to have those smaller little interests. Captain is as big of a responsibility as like an exec position would be within Krush. But so it's the same thing with every single sport. So you're able to balance as much as you want, but also having an exec position or a senior exec position within Illini Pride, you are expected to go to as many sports as you can and represent those sports just as you would as your own organization.
So I did want to ask about that, and you brought it up. You kind of gave me a nice segue here on the Krush captain, because Claire, you are a captain, and I'll be honest, I didn't know what that meant. I saw it on a post, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. You know, somebody I know is a Krush captain, but I have no idea what that entails. So would you share a little bit about what it means to be a captain and kind of what your responsibilities are?
Being a captain is the best thing I've done and joined since getting to the university. It was originally Aaron Schrock, who's also from our hometown, who gave me the idea of joining. I went to Quad Day and saw their tent and knew I had to fill out the form on their Instagram. But from a daily perspective, we show up to the games like 2 hours and 15 minutes before tip-off, which is 45 minutes before the doors open, and all jobs are randomly assigned. They're actually all a lot of fun. I wasn't so sure about some of them, but donations in the Traditions Club has definitely become a favorite of mine. And we take donations, set up the newspapers for men's games. We set up the closet for men's and women's games. The closet is our distraction costumes we do in the second half when the opposing team is shooting free throws. And we also set out signs that people can hold up throughout the game.
So how many captains are there? Because I saw there's a significant list.
This year, I think there were 45.
That's a lot of students that
A
you got
lot.
involved. That's a lot of coordinating and a lot
lot.
of things like that.
And we had over 100 applicants. I think it was about 120 applicants. So it's a pretty exclusive group compared to how many applied.
How many Krush members are there in total?
So there's 45 captains and 12 exec members. So what is that, 57? And then with that, senior exec is like the Block Eye president, Orange Crush president, Olympic president, finance for Illini Pride president, like all of those. And there's 6 of us. So those are included, and they are able to get a lot of the perks that Krush exec do too. So you can throw them in there too. So about 63-ish people in total that help set up for every game, and we managed to get it done most of the time.
And I appreciate that, because that's an aspect that most people have no idea the numbers there or what you're doing or anything like that. So then my next question for that is, what are the requirements to be involved with, just in Krush in general? Not necessarily going to each position, whatever, but just to be a member. What do you have to do? I know, Claire, you mentioned that there's an application you had to fill out, but what are you looking for? What's the expectation, that sort of thing?
Yeah. I've been able to be on the other side of it, like looking at applications for the past 2 years now. So we are looking for people who not only love Illinois, but also love basketball and understand the game, which I think it's so easy to come across the application and they're talking about Illinois and they're talking about basketball, but finding those people who have had such a love and passion for this sport and especially this university from such a young age is very vital to the application process. We're also looking for people with just a lot of enthusiasm, people who are going to be able to get up in front of a crowd and tell them to yell if we're being quiet. So that's kind of the 2 big things I'm always looking for in captains or exec members. And also we want them to be involved in other things throughout campus, but also have enough time to be and want to experience time with like other sports, if that makes sense. So we want them to be able to go to a tennis match or go to a volleyball game or other sports within the university, because we don't want them to be basketball only and be like a one-faced member.
And I love that aspect, because we have so many great opportunities on this campus to support so many different teams, and a lot of them are free to go to. I mean, you don't have to purchase tickets. You can just go, and they're great experiences. They're a lot of fun if you're a sports fan at all. So I really encourage anybody who's listening to check those out. Check out as many sports as you possibly can, just to get a feel for it. We have some great facilities here, and it's just a lot of fun, and you may learn something new. Like I went to a tennis match. I'd never been to a college tennis setup, and it's different than you think it is. It's fun. And so I encourage you to go into that. So let's go back to the game day then. We talked a lot about the outside, kind of what's going on, things like that. The game day experience, there are a lot of really good student sections. Every college has a student section of some sort, and some are more organized than others and bigger than others. Just depends on the size of the university. But I know that I'm biased because I work at the University of Illinois. I've been a University of Illinois fan since I was born. But in your opinions, what makes the Krush stand out? What makes them just kind of a step above others?
Yeah, I also might be biased. I've been a fan forever, and I'm literally in it. But I think Krush has a couple aspects that make us really unique compared to other student sections. First off, we've always been known for being kind of witty. I think we try to think of things outside the box to get in different players' heads and try to influence the game in that way instead of just like vulgar things that you don't want to hear and no one really wants to hear, even on our court. And then we are a philanthropic organization. We have the Orange Crush Foundation, and we raise thousands of dollars each year and donate them to other organizations within the community, different nonprofits. Last year, I think we donated to about 32 organizations. This year, we're still counting. The application closes tomorrow, but we have about 25 at the moment. So it's always amazing every year at the end of the year banquet when we're able to donate able to donate money to each of these organizations and watch them benefit our community. So I think that really stands out as to why Orange Crush is not only loud and rowdy and exciting, but also they want to benefit our community, because Champaign-Urbana is such a wonderful place and they have such wonderful organizations that need our help as well.
You mentioned that it's loud and rowdy, so I'm gonna ask Claire directly here, because again, we have this connection. You're from my hometown. Whatever. Our hometown is a little over 2,000 people.
Yeah.
The game day experience in your high school career is slightly different than the game day experience at the State Farm Center. So what has it been like for you coming in as a freshman to be a part of that game day? Like what has surprised you? What has been like some aspects of that just really hooked you and you're like, this is awesome? Because you said it's one of the best things you've done.
Yes.
What has that been like for you?
It's been amazing, obviously. I love the Orange Crush. I love the Orange Crush Foundation. We do great things for a lot of people. I've only ever lived in the 217 area code. I love it here. And I love all the alumni that come back to the games. Like I mentioned earlier, talking about taking donations in the Traditions Club, you see a bunch of like elderly people come in, alumni. They all have their gear on. They talk about the Crush, like when it originally started. I remember specifically this one couple, they came in and they talked about their son. He was Crush president one time, or this other couple that talked about being on the first Orange Crush. It's really heartwarming to hear all of those things and such the strong connection people have to the university, even 50 years down the road.
And that's one of the beauties of any university, but this university is you have that network, you have that legacy, you have that connection. That it's more than just I like the game. I'm invested in a community of people that are like-minded, and so that's a really this is an absolutely cool aspect when I see. That's kind of what hooked me too, and you're kind of catching into that as you're coming in now. Has there been moments where you've had almost a surreal moment, like I can't believe I'm part of this while the game's going on, and those experiences? Does anything jump out at you from this first year?
Definitely. It is kind of surreal to be a part of something so fun, so just amazing overall. I remember like specifically during the Tennessee game, like looking around at all the people. It was the stripe game, I believe, the section, like so some of them were blue and some of them were orange, and just like everyone putting on their shirt and like in support of the same team. And I remember it was Coach Underwood's birthday, and we all had birthday hats on too. It was just overall a great experience, and the sense of community was similar to that of growing up in high school in a small town. It all felt like we were a family.
And that's so important to any support group, any kind of cheering section, any kind of group that comes together, which kind of leads into the next thing that I think it was Brooke. I think it was in your prep work that you talked about the importance of the Crush being a positive support and a positive influence, because we do live in a time where people feel not everyone, but many people feel very entitled to share their any opinion, especially about college athletes. And these are young men and women who are just finding their way and figuring out. And yes, they've chosen to be in the spotlight to a degree, but that doesn't give people a license to attack them. Yeah. So how do you as Crush members and as an organization try and help combat that? How do you approach it to be that positive that positive influence and positive example?
Yeah, I think it's definitely gotten harder throughout my 4 years here. I've seen a shift of a lot of cheering turn into putting people down, whether it's our team or the other team. Getting in their head does not mean like belittling them. And I also grew up in a small town, and I have two of my best friends play D1 sports, and just seeing some of the stuff what people will say to certain athletes online or in person is kind of disheartening to know that someone could say that to my best friend. And so I think that it's gotten harder to control students, especially whenever they're not as attached to a team maybe, so they don't care what they say to a player because the player's going to be gone next year, or it's the other team, so we can say whatever we want to the other team or the other team's coach. But I think that knowing that they're the same age as us and that they are too going to classes and trying to just be a student while also having to balance the being an athlete, like they are student athletes, kind of puts it in the perspective that it's more than just a sport. We're there for fun, they're there for fun, but also possibly getting a career out of it. And I think people feel like they have a license to beat down on someone on our team or even from our other team, but trying to come up with creative ways to get in their heads instead of belittling them is very important. And instead of just using vulgar language, athletes on the other team could care less if you just say vulgar language all the time. Like it's more of getting in their heads and finding particular ways to distract them. Yes, exactly.
And it's important to remember, because a lot of times the vitriol you see is in reflection of a not great performance, right? Anybody who's ever played a sport, nobody goes out there intending not to play well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to go out there and not play well. Any athlete you talk to who cares about their sport, when they don't play well, it affects them, because they're trying to do their best. It's not anything else. And so understanding that, and they're already hard on themselves. They already know that they haven't met the standard, and I promise you, if they don't, their coaches will let them know they haven't met the standard. We don't need to deal with that.
Yeah.
This is more of being supportive and being positive. And as a side note, if you're listening and you want to go back through our archives, episode 65, we actually had an interview or a conversation with some athletes here at the university, and they talked about I Matter, which is a initiative, an online social media initiative for athletes through DIA to help combat some of that and remind people that these are humans, that these are real people with real feelings and real concerns and real responsibilities, and understanding that there's a way to support and a way to be a fan and to interact that is uplifting and is honest. And so I really encourage you to go back and check out that episode, because it was really good. It was a really, really great conversation. Again, that's episode 65. But I love hearing what you're saying about, you want to affect the game, because you do, and you want to be loud, you want to be rowdy, and you want to be involved, because just as much as an athlete feels that pressure and that hurt sometimes from negative, the positive can take them to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You can really lift somebody up when you're on a court and the crowd's into it, man. You can just do no wrong. You are right there. And I know athletes who've all experienced that as well. So the Krush does a great job of bringing that in. And consistently we see online that State Farm Center is one of the toughest places to play in the Big Ten. It's about that. It's about the students, and it's about the noise. So if someone is listening, and there's actually two parts to this question, but the first part is, if someone's listening and they want to become a part of the Krush, we know that you have to go online to fill out an application. So my first question is, where do they find it? What's your social media? What's your website? Whatever you have. The second is there certain times of year? Like, does it close? That kind of thing. How does somebody become a part of the Krush, or how do they at least start that connection to attempt to be a part of the Krush?
Totally. I think, well, first off, just going in the student section and being loud, that in itself, you are an Orange Krush member. In order to get leadership with an Orange Krush, as in a captain, that is an application process that opens late summer, early school year, like it's right before the school year in August. And that's an application, and you can find it on our Instagram. It's Illini_OKrush. And it's also probably posted on our Twitter and Facebook, but Instagram is my way to go. And then there's a link in our bio. We post about it all the time whenever it opens, and it's open for about 2 months before it closes, so we can get everyone in and trained before the season starts. So that's how you find the application, and it's that little window that it's open for.
Is there any kind of, I know you talked about you look for somebody who has a passion for the game and a passion for the university. Is there a major particularly looking for, or like freshmen through seniors, like they're particularly looking for, or is it just simply how you represent yourself in that application that kind of gets the hook?
I think that we mainly, if seniors apply, a lot of them are repeat exec or already captains. So we do encourage all different majors to apply, all different years to apply. Majors especially, we want all different ideas. We want all people from all different parts of campus, the state, the country, because they can come up with different ways that they maybe saw in their hometown how we did this. And I think that that's really important, to come up with different ideas every single year. We take the most freshmen and sophomores for captains, just because new experience means better leadership in the future. We do take the most freshmen and sophomores, just because new captains can create better leadership in the future, kind of building up our program. So for juniors and seniors, we still totally recommend to apply, because we still let in quite a few, but we just look for more of that those younger captains.
So then on the other side, you also talked about just being a part of the student section. How do you do that? Do you have to get particular tickets? Is there a way you have to get those tickets? Because somebody new to campus has not been, they have no idea how to get there. How do you become a part of the student section?
Yeah. The tickets go on sale in September. Is that right, Claire?
That sounds about right.
I think so. I think it's September-ish, maybe October. And they sell out quick. Like, I think this last year was a record time of 22 minutes, which is crazy to sell out. I think we sell 3,000 tickets, which is crazy to sell it in 25 minutes, but whatever. So you are able to get those tickets, and it's like you get those for the entire year. So a lot of times people are selling them. Look on the Facebook page, look on Aries Tickets. They have sell student tickets throughout the year, and that's how you get the ticket, but then you have to wait in line, and the lines have just gotten longer and longer the past 4 years I've been here, so that takes another like couple hours out of your day to wait in line. And then you can also we started doing wristbands the past few years, and because we are not only a men's basketball student section, because I think when people think of Krush, people think men's basketball just because it's more advertised. We have started doing women's in the past 2 years, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger, which is so amazing to see. So for anyone who goes to a women's basketball game, there's more likely than not at that game, the first like 50 to 100 people will get a wristband for the men's game. So they don't have to wait as long of a line. They get into like a fast pass line, so they get in first. So that's kind of a nice way to not only boost our women's attendance, but also get people who want to show up to both games there. Get it through the door, because those are most of the time loud people who are excited to watch basketball.
You know, it's a good problem to have when it's tough to get into games because we're doing well.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that both programs, and I'm a huge women's basketball fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shauna Green has done an amazing job over there. I could do a whole 30-minute diatribe on that.
Yeah.
But it's great that both programs are doing well and people want to be there, and so that's a huge part.
Mm-hmm.
Backtracking just a little bit, you did mention that return members of like the captains and the exec board. So is it a 1-year appointment? Every position is a 1 year. Does it carry over, or do you have to reapply every time?
You have to reapply every time. So I was on exec last year. I was an in-game chair. There's different ones for Orange Crush exec. I had to reapply to be like obviously president, but if I wanted to be captain again, I would have to reapply. I don't just like get right back in, because there's some years where maybe we don't have. It's like any organization. You don't have someone who applies himself as much or doesn't show up to as much things as other captains do, and that we have leadership from previous that will remember that for the next year. So we always want the best people out on the court every year.
And I asked about how to get involved if you're a student, how to become a part of Krush and things like that. The other side of that conversation, or that question I want to ask is, if somebody's listening and they are part of an organization, you talked about, the philanthropy type of things. If somebody wants to become involved with the Krush, is it the same process through the Instagram? How do they get in touch with you if they want to be a part? Like, we want to partner with you somehow and do some philanthropy types things. Totally.
So I think first off, for just alum wanting to donate to our organization, we have the Orange Crush Foundation website. You can donate at any time throughout the year. So that's for people who want to support us as Orange Crush organization. As for people who maybe want help financially, we do the Orange Crush Foundation, obviously. That grant opens in about January and closes right before spring break. So that's about a 3-month span where different nonprofits that need our help, that's how you can reach out to us. That is posted all over Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. And that's an application, and not really an application. You kind of just send in your information and email it to us. And then finally, any organizations that want to like collaborate or like want our help like philanthropically, we do like a food drive every year, or we're always looking for other ways to like get involved in the community, just like through labor and our help. Just shoot an email, shoot a DM. Our email, actually, I don't even know if I remember it. 1 second. Our email is orangecrushillinois@gmail.com. That's Krush with a K, in case anyone doesn't know. But orangecrushillinois@gmail.com for any sort of like ways for us to collaborate throughout the season or before the season, because we love to get involved throughout different regions of the community.
And again, we'll have that email and the other links in our bio, so you can just click on that, as we always do with every episode. Okay, very quickly, because we're almost out of time, I'm gonna put you both on the spot real quick, because I have to ask. I didn't prep you for this one, so you got to think quick. What's your favorite Big Ten game you've been to that pops to mind in your time here? What one goes like, that was just a fun game and I really loved it?
You have a lot less to pick from than me, Claire. You go first.
Okay. My favorite one recently is when our women's team played Purdue and put the smack down on them.
Yeah.
That was an awesome game. We played well. Shots were falling. Coach Shauna Green was doing amazing on the side, hyping our team up. I don't know, just
that was a good
burns
game.
in my head.
Yeah. Awesome game. My favorite one in the State Farm Center has to be freshman year Iowa when we won the Big Ten championship, regular season championship. It was electric. 2 hours before that when Wisconsin lost and because Nebraska beat Wisconsin, and it was just so many emotions, and it was the last game of my freshman year, and I wasn't even I wasn't a captain at that point. I was just in Orange Crush. That's when I knew I was like, I need to get involved, and like looking back at it now, I'm president. So like I that has to be the moment where I was like, I'm gonna be president of this organization. But non-State Farm, I actually traveled to Boston last year with Orange Crush. So the Sweet 16 game with Iowa State was incredible. It's something that I probably will never see in person again.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this year. I can't say that, but
we're gonna win.
Yes, we're gonna win. I'll be in San Antonio, Texas. But I think, and then even for UConn, even though the game didn't go as we wanted, we were still like on the baseline and like on the court of a March Madness game, which is like so incredible and something that I think every basketball fan dreams of one day.
Well, it is, and it's amazing. Those moments, like you said, the Iowa. Instantly, I was like, "Oh yeah, that was an intense game. I know what happened in that game."
Yep.
Like it's that kind of moment. That's the kind of connection that you're talking about. Like Clara was talking about, that you're part of a community immediately, and you have that connection. So, yeah, for sure. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for both of you coming in and sharing. Again, this was a really fun episode for me because I'm just a huge sports fan and a huge fan of the Crush. But I appreciate you taking the time out today to talk to us about it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
If you're on campus, there's lots of ways you can get involved, and sports is one of those. And being a spectator, being a supporter of the athletic teams is a huge piece of that. And it's not something that just kind of happens by accident. There are leaders that really are invested in making sure that game day experience is the best possible. Then also being effective in the community through philanthropic type things and connecting with alumni and things like that. And Orange Crush is one of those. So if you have questions, if you want to be involved, if you want to follow up with that, please click on the links, contact them. They'll be happy to answer some questions. They'll be happy to help you find out where you fit within all of it. But thank you for joining us today. You are on a personal journey no matter where you are in it. You are important and you matter. Your health and wellness are important and matter, and we're here to keep you well to excel. So go have a great week, Illini. Let us know how you're doing, and we'll catch you next time on Healthy Illini.